right, everybody. I am now starting our video lecture series on biochemistry. We said we would swap gears, and turns out this was just the perfect time to do that. So, what you should see in front of you on the video is what we're going to kind of use as our quote-unquote textbook. So as we go through it, I'm going to make little lines, as to we got this far on this date and this far on this date, so that you don't worry that you have to do all, let's see, I forget how many pages it is. It's 20-something pages. You don't have to do all of that in one day, okay? So stay with me and don't be nervous, okay? Today, we're just going to talk about this much. Let's see if that line comes up. Okay, and so I'm going to date it. Today is 3/30/20. Okay, so I'm going to date it, and so that we're only talking about the stuff above the line today. All right, we're going to break it down into 15, 20-minute chunks, and really go into depth with this. All right, so biochemistry. Okay, we've talked about regular chemistry. We've talked about why it's important. We've talked about how it helps in industry. We've talked about how it helps in everyday life. So let's talk about biochemistry and how chemistry really rules every single thing that goes on in our bodies. Chemistry is the reason any of us can walk or talk or breathe. So it's a huge, huge thing. Let me swap colors here, and let's go ahead and start talking. I'm pretty light blue today. All right, biochemistry is the chemistry of living things, right? So bio here is referring to living things. Okay, biology, it's the study of living things and stuff like that. Okay, microbiology, this is the study of very small living things. And then chemistry, we've talked about, is the study of chemicals and reactions and stuff like that. This just happens to be especially timely because it says here in the second sentence, to understand and control or modify for disease prevention or other purposes chemical reactions of living organisms, we must understand life on the molecular level. Now, molecular level here just meaning that it's very small. So here, I'm going to put a little arrow here, disease prevention. Okay, obviously that's a hot topic right now, and we will be talking about the structure of viruses and bacteria and stuff like that. We will go into that, and we will talk about how it relates to current events once we, of course, get to that point. Okay? All right. Since living things are extremely complicated, then the chemical reactions and molecules must be very complex. However, we can get an overview by understanding 4 types of biomolecules. We will greatly simplify all these details by giving some general structural features of biomolecules and their primary role in living systems. Okay? Now here, this first one, lipids. You may have remembered when we talked in class about lipomas or anything like that, that lipo, L-I-P-O, which here you can see lipids is L-I-P-I. That refers to fat. Okay, so anything that is stored in fat or has to do with fat is going to use this prefix lipo. You will also hear us talk about lipase when we get to proteins and enzymes. That is a protein, an enzyme with the ase ending that breaks down fat. So any of this lipo, lipase, lipid, any of that, that's referring to fats. And again, super important. They have their roles to play. Carbohydrates, a lot of times you'll see these now, they're just carbs, right? Carbs are also super important for powering the processes in our cells and therefore in our body. Energy source and cell surfaces. Everybody, if you're talking about in a diet sort of situation, they talk about low fat, low carb, and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about some of the reasons why those things are necessary in your body and why you actually do need to ingest at least a little of all of these things as you go through your daily calorie allowance. All right. Proteins. We all know protein is important. People make protein shakes, right, to get extra protein. Molecules that do work of cell carry out many reactions. Proteins are going to be kind of like your heavy lifters here. Okay? I have some really cool visualizations, some really cool renderings of proteins at work, and I think once we get to that point that you guys will think, that's very interesting. Excuse me. It's certainly more interesting than me yawning. Sorry, Charlie's taking up space. He doesn't give me very much room to breathe. All right, and nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are super important because these right here are what we use for DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA, ribonucleic acid. Okay? These are actually the translated instructions that go from our chromosomes, and they are translated out into the cell structures, into all sorts of instructions and structural pieces of the cells. And so, excuse me, hold on, I lost my place. Oh, and so that's why these are super important, and you will see that these are also made of all of these parts. Like the nucleic acid is part of it, but they also have the other biomolecules as well. Okay? All right. So this has been 8 minutes at this point. Just my little intro. I don't want to pull another history video and go for too long. So I'm going to wrap this up here, this little intro. The assignment for this, I will go back and make a Google Forms assignment to attach to this video in Google Classroom. I'll probably even go back and count how many times I said or something. So, there it is again. So yeah, so I will start doing these much shorter videos and breaking it down more so that we can get, sorry again, so that we can get through this more efficiently. And I'm going to try really hard to stop saying All right, so I will see you guys later. All right, have a good day.